I'll call the meeting to order. The McCracken County Fiscal Court, 2:30 Monday, August 9, Courtroom D, Fiscal Court meeting. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bartman?
Here.
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Parker?
Here.
And Judge Connor?
Here. Commissioner Parliament, offer our prayer, please.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day. We thank you for the opportunity we have to serve this county. Father, we just pray that you be with us as we make decisions that will be the best for all involved and be best in your light. Father, we ask a special prayer for our law enforcement officers who are working to protect this county. Father, just be with them as they perform their duties to keep the county safe. We just pray for the situation out on I-24. We just pray you help us to find a solution to that, and that drivers will be attentive and cut down on the accident rate, Father. We just ask you to be with us day by day. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen. All right, stand and join me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Let's see, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So made. Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Budget transfers.
It is ordered that the necessary cash transfers in the amount of $570,000 be made in order to pay county bills and payroll approved August 9th, 2021.
So made. Second. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Accounts payable.
It is ordered to approve the vouchers claims register from July 26, 2021 to August 9th, 2021 to show county bills in the amount of $1,020,053.91 were paid.
So made. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. We have a number, just a few things under discussion, but I think maybe it'd be prudent if someone would make a motion to move our, there's this little matter we've been discussing back and forth, putting forth ideas on the sports tourism MOU. I think it might be wise, since particularly I've got to leave at 3:45, so in 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Hey, Judge.
Yeah.
We've got Lone Oak and Reedland both here. Can we get them out of the way real quick? And that way they don't have to sit through that.
Okay. All right.
Do you think they don't want to sit through our...
I know them pretty well. I don't think they want to sit through our meeting.
Okay. Well, it'll be riveting. You don't know what you'll miss, but if you want to miss out on it.
I think the riveting part's probably already happened.
Just see, first we have a presentation of a $10,000 check to Lone Oak Youth Baseball. Is there somebody here for Lone Oak Baseball? Yeah. And who's the Lone Oak? Who's the Lone Oak? Is that?
Lone Oak.
Yeah, I mean on the commission. Who's that's you and
That's me.
that's you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of all of us,
Thank you very
Fiscal
much.
Court, yes, sir. And oh, we don't have the big. We don't have a big check.
Like in the PGA?
Yeah.
These guys actually had the special Terry, you want to enlighten us a little what y'all done, or one of you this weekend out there?
Well, we had 14 teams that showed up from Bowling Green, Hopkinsville, Barrett County,
Christian
County, Russellville, Murray, and Paducah. We had 233 athletes come and participate, and they qualify for the state tournament that we held at the end of the month.
Come on up here where we can hear you a little better, would you? We can hear you maybe, but we got 3 people at home that watch this, and they can't.
They qualify for the state tournament, and 2 teams out of each region gets to go. And so and there's 4 divisions, so there's several of the athletes from this end of the state get to go participate.
And this is for Special Olympics.
Yeah, and the big tournament's going to be at Bowling Green this year, and they kind of move it around the state. So it's a big thing, and we have a lot of fun doing it, and have a lot of volunteers, and it's really heartwarming. Everybody ought to come and see it.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Jones, your special favorite words. They put a lot of heads in beds this weekend from out of town guests for the Special Olympics. How about that?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Roy.
What was his name?
Then we've got the Reedland Farley baseball and softball. You know, I had a 50-50 chance of getting that done right, and I gave Lone Oak the Reedland one, and so I'll give Reedland the Lone Oak one. Y'all they're the same amount. Y'all can fight over it.
Thank you very much.
Can you bring us up to date on what you're doing out there? Come to the lectern there, please.
In the year and a half I've been there, we've gone from 8 teams up to 21 teams. Got the concession up and running. The bathrooms are functioning now. We just redid all the fields this year. We're just trying to make it come back from where it had gotten down so low.
We appreciate all you do. We really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you are Dwayne Gold?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Looks good out there.
Thank you, guys.
All right. But could we move to that sports complex MOU now? Somebody make a motion to do that? I'd like to try to get that done tonight. A motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, so that's the, Madam Clerk, could you read that, please?
Yes, sir. It is ordered that the judge executive is authorized to execute a memorandum of understanding with the City and the Sports Tourism Commission regarding the sports complex, which sets out a partnership between the county, city, and commission in the building and funding of the sports complex.
Is there a motion?
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion?
Well, I have an amendment that I wanted to make, if I could have the floor for a minute.
Sure.
First, before I talk about the amendment, I don't want to gloss over that this is an agreement that has lots of good things in it, such as the city and the county are going to share in the venture, and they're each going to put $12.5 million in the first $25 million of the construction cost. I do have an amendment for paragraph 3C, and I have given each of you a copy. Do we actually need to read it? I mean, we're not reading the rest of the agreement, so I don't know why we
You've
could- You got it
right.
I have it on my computer. I only printed enough for each of you gentlemen.
You've got it right there.
Yeah, I've got it. I mean, I can read it, but
Yeah, let's just,
And I'll be glad to read it for you if you'd like. You just
well, I guess it's okay. All right, I'll read it. So my amendment would substitute the present paragraph 3C. And the present paragraph 3C basically shares the transient room proceeds tax at an 80-20 split. And I'm offering this substitute idea. And that also says that it will begin collecting the transient room tax, which is about $900,000 a year. Between that and 1.1 million would begin fiscal year 2022, even though we wouldn't necessarily be incurring debt on the back end yet. So I'm not being very clear, and I don't know that anyone will ever read this, but we're basically talking about the way we're going to pay the debt service for the $17.5 million that's on the back end of the construction project. So that debt service won't begin until probably a couple of years from now, at least. So my amendment says, beginning the first month after the city and or county incurred debt service on only any bonds issued by the city or county over and above the original $12.5 million referenced in paragraph A above, to finance construction costs for the new sports park. The commission, and that means the Sports Tourism Commission, shall set aside and devote 60% of the first $75,000 of that month's received transient room tax payments, parentheses, the TRT receipts, and 100% of that month's TRTs above $75,000 for payments on the city and county's debt service for construction costs associated with the new sports park. 1/2 of the dollars set aside for debt service shall be paid by the county treasurer directly to the city, and 1/2 of the dollars set aside for debt service shall be paid by the county treasurer directly to the county. These funds shall only be used to pay for the debt service on the construction debts incurred by the city and county on the new sports park. Neither the city nor the county will seek reimbursement for debts or expenses incurred without the consent and approval of the other. The city and the county shall be solely responsible for the payment of the cost of issuance of any municipal bonds. So, what am I trying to accomplish? Well, I guess that's my amendment. I don't know I guess if it doesn't have a second, we don't need to talk about it. So that's my motion to amend paragraph 3C.
Okay, is there a second on the amendment?
I'll make a second because I want him to put it in layman's terms and see where he's going with it.
That's
Okay.
Okay.
all right. So what I'm trying to do is create a situation in which the county Sports Tourism Commission, which is the county's CVB, can have a funded and functional operation besides just debt service. It's ironic to me that 3 years ago when I got this job, we had a city and a county CVB, and I proffered that we could do some constructions with the TRT then, and I was told no, as a matter of law by the city, you can't do that. And it's kind of funny because the city wants 80% of the very thing they said couldn't happen. That being said, we've plowed that ground. The concern I have, and what I want to ensure that we do, is to create a process in which the county CVB or the Sports Tourism Commission is insured of funding, and they shouldn't have to. Their security and funding should come from the transient room tax. It shouldn't come from, well, maybe if you do well and you get some profits or you get some teams in here, they should be able to function because they're created by statute for the promotion of tourism without having to come, and I think I used the phrase earlier when we were talking, they shouldn't have to kiss the hand of the fiscal court or kiss the ring of the fiscal court or the city commission to make sure they've got enough money to do what it is they ought to do. So this plan ensures that they basically get $30,000 a month to function. Compare that to what the city functions with. They get about $100,000 when there's not a pandemic. They get about $100,000 a month to function. So everything above the $30,000 would then go to debt service for the new project. We're anticipating, and in fact, if we don't get, in using a projection of $125,000 in transient room tax receipts per month, and if we don't get that, we have truly failed, because this is why we're doing it. I mean, we get, I think we're almost at 110 last month, so surely we're going to have some increase. If we have that $125,000 a month, and I think we all expect that we will, that puts $95,000 a month toward debt service, and at the same time secures the funding for the county CVB to function and operate. And I think that's important to remember. There's a statute that tells us how we got to do this, and we can't run away from that statute. That statute's KRS 91A 350. So that's my motion. And the other thing I guess it amends that the present contract would have the transient room tax escrowing money now. I think that's too far in advance of when we're going to incur debt. There may be another thought as to how we do that, and I'm certainly open to how we do that. I just know I don't want to do it in fiscal year 2022.
If they're escrowing money for debt service at a later date. Is that right, Steve? So really would that make a big difference?
Well, it matters as to how far in advance. I mean, we're not
There's
expecting.
going to be stockpiling it to pay on that debt when it does arrive, correct?
Well, your answer is correct. The answer to your question is correct, but you need to stockpile it 5 years in advance, or 1 year in advance, or 2 years in advance. And there's no reason you're going to have an annual debt service payment. That annual debt service payment is going to be about $1 million, give or take $100,000. So there's no reason to stockpile it over a year in advance. So we may need to adjust the language of whether doing it first month or doing it a year before debt. However we're doing it, however we do that language, I just don't think we need to. We don't need to put money in the city treasury until about a year before they have to make their payment.
Well, let's say there's a couple of things that I disagree with you on about the, the statute does provide that the Sports Tourism Commission, or if you want to call it our CBB, is to be funded from the transient room tax. But we, city and county, each gave them, or will give them, $12.5 million for a total of $25 million to get this park done. We also are about to commit to each giving them $8.75 million, 17 million balance that we think might be necessary for the 42 million. That's, the thing's been, estimated at 38 to 42 million at the maximum, hopefully 42 million. So we've given them 25 million between the city and the county. We've loaned them 17 million. That's over and above anything that the statute contemplates. So I don't think it's accurate to say that we're not following the statute by.
Well, I don't think I said that. I think by escrowing in advance, I question how far in advance you pay, whether that would be consistent with 91A 350. But no, I don't think there's anything unlawful about what you're trying to do. It was considered unlawful by the city 3 years ago, but I think they've changed their mind.
Yeah. Well, I thought where you were going was that we're not following the minimum requirements of the statute because we're taking money from the.
The statute does not give a percentage. It says that you should use this money to promote tourism, and then it says with the consent of the Sports Tourism Commission that we, the authorizing agency or body, can assign a portion for construction costs. So it doesn't say how much. So I think the law would support either 80% or 60% of the first 75 plus everything thereafter. I didn't intend to say that we're going to violate the statute. If I said that,
No, I didn't think that. I just I understood you to be saying we were not meeting the full requirements by.
I guess what I'm trying to say, if I'm one of 3 hotel owners on the commission, the purpose is to put heads in beds. Mm-hmm. And the question I would have is all right, well, would you mind leaving a sum of the TRT so we can actually run a tourism operation? And I guess my concern is here. Number one, the last time somebody tried sports tourism in this community, it failed. And that building now is Jackson Purchase Electric. Elizabethtown went into this project and they lost $1 million a year until they figured out how to do it right. We don't know what's downstream, and it concerns me that we're going to not set aside some of the the first dollars of the transient room tax to make sure that if nobody comes to play softball here, or the promoter doesn't like it, that we've got a person that we can say, listen, you need to organize something. And plus, there are other things that I think can increase heads and beds in county tourism that won't necessarily occur at this park. And we should have somebody engaged in that activity. And the only way to do that is to ensure that you set aside some of the dollars for the transient room tax to make sure you've got somebody to run and to operate and make sure that the $40 million park is successful. And that's...
Well, my point is just that between the city and the county, we're giving the Sports Tourism Commission $25 million.
Oh, I think.
And then we're loaning them a no interest loan of $17 million. That's a pretty good starting point.
Sure.
It's not contemplated in the statute. And the project that we're looking at is going to be bigger than anything I think probably any of us would have imagined a couple of years ago. And so the idea that we need to not ask them to repay the debt at a, I think, reasonable rate, and so that they'll have money to look at other projects, or maybe to put money back into this project when this is the Mac Daddy right here. And so I
don't want you to think that I'm saying that we're somehow being unfair to the Sports Tourism Commission. I'm saying we're doing both. We're building a really big asset, and I want to make sure that we've got a funded operation to run it. I realize that there are prospectuses out there that say, oh, it's going to make so much money. And I just don't look at it. I don't know that they're true. There's no historical data to know that they're true, but I do know, and I can rely upon the transient room tax. And so I want to rely upon that to make sure that we don't end up building a big $40 million park and don't have someone designated to promote it and to make sure that we actually do end up with heads and beds.
Well, we're going to hire somebody, I think, the Sports Tourism, I'm sure, is going to hire somebody to promote the thing. I think the city CVB will anyway. We had discussions early on about, and I don't think it was ever formalized or anything, but sort of an acknowledgement that the county CVB, the Sports Tourism Commission, was going to focus on sports. The city would be more toward promotional things for economic development. But the bottom line, if we get to it, let's say my version 80% doesn't work. It took too much money. Then we know what happens. Then we just pitch in on the back end, the city and the county, and we're going to make up that difference. We're not going to go out there and put a chain on the gate and say, well, we tried, but this didn't work. I do agree with I don't think the our current language said the 80% or your hybrid number would begin in this current fiscal year we're in. I've talked with Steve Doolittle, and we kind of were spitballing around the idea of making it start, say, 12 months before the first debt service payment is due.
I'd be fine with that.
So if we did this, if we don't start incurring it until the debt service is due, then we don't, what'd you say, what's 90, so we'd have 90,000 to put toward, and I guess the debt service is probably going to be two annual payments of maybe like $1.25 million, so 600,000 every 6 months, and we would start off having only 90,000 to put toward that 600,000 debt. But if you're good with the 12 month, maybe we can get that much done. Would you want to I don't know what you, we're not allowed to either one of you to say anything.
I think that's good, yeah. I think the 12 months is,
Yeah, okay.
you don't want to be flat broke going into that and have to make a payment and be at zero or be in a negative from the start. So if you do 12 months, that should leave them cost
So
them
we just change-
$400,000 after they make their payment.
So instead, we'll just change it to beginning 1 year before.
Yeah. Before the first debt service payment is due.
That gives them
You good with that?
a chance to
We
get
can-
ahead.
We'll probably need to take care of another amendment if this one doesn't
Yeah.
pass, but I'm good with that, yeah.
Well, I
I've
was
got
going to
amendments
ask
do that.
Eddie
If this
if,
one fails, I got an amendment to do that.
Well, either way, we're
Okay.
beginning 1 year before, whether we just make that as a single
Let's vote.
amendment. But, you know, I think Bill wants to defeat this amendment first, then move on to the one that's going to pass. So he can gain credit for the
all
second
right,
one.
well, we'll come around, maybe we can get in one fatal swoop, get all. So what did you want to say something about the other part of it?
I mean, I mean, if this amendment fails, I got another amendment I would like to propose, but I think the finances of the operation of the center are guaranteed, because if it comes up short from the transient room tax revenue and other revenue that comes in, under this agreement, the city and the county are obligated to 50-50 meet any deficit that there is. So it's not going to come up short. They don't have to come big. It's going to build up a good reserve before the first payment is made. So for the first couple of years, till it gets operational and brings in revenue, I think there's going to be plenty of money in there to run it. So I don't think we need to set it.
Well, the fallacy with that is what if the county CVB is actually engaged in a project of promoting a hunting dog competition that doesn't have anything to do with the sports park, or a Paducah Marathon?
Special Olympics.
Yeah, you know, and they don't have enough money for that. There isn't an agreement that the city and county will basically make sure all of those things work, and we're essentially hamstringing them to, you will only do the things at this sports park instead of broadly.
It doesn't say that. It says if their budget comes up short, that
I just,
the city and the county is obligated.
I don't think we ought to create an agency that has to worry about whether they've got enough money to hire good people and pay the copy cost. I think if we're going to set it up, we ought to set it up, and it ought to be secure, and there's a way to do that.
Well, let me just say too that, Steve Doolittle's I didn't ask him how many hours he took to do the analysis and the prediction. I know you said you like the historical background, and of course that's ideal. If you have some foundation to build on, we know that this has happened before, so it's likely to happen again. We don't have that here, but he's done some very conservative numbers, and given this 80-20 split, and even conservative to the point of eliminating some of the revenue that could come from it and various other things, that the 80% will support the needs of the project. I don't want to, I mean, I agree there could be other things come along, but I gotta, I mean, and I think we all understand this is just huge. I think, and I'm telling people, I think it dwarfs anything else we have as far as economic development. Carson Center, Convention Center, anything else. And so to say we're going to have to, be concerned about getting into other projects, I think within a few years, we're going to start seeing some revenue, and that start balance out and bringing in. Well, first of all, there's revenue in the sense of dollars that go back into our coffers, but there's also benefit. That was one of the things that government enjoys that maybe private business doesn't, in that all of the kids are out there and adults playing ball. All the restaurants, all of a sudden they're seeing people swarming into their facilities, the fuel stations, the burger joints, the clothing stores, everything. All the tangential benefit, what do they call that? I can't think of the word, but anyway, how that money turns over in the community numerous times, it's going to be a boon for this community, and we're not even looking at any of that. We're just looking at the hard dollars between the city, county, and the sports tourism. So I think we're good at the 80 myself. I do think the 12 months before is a good amendment to make on the thing.
One more question. So if you do the 80 and we get down the road and we get ready to get this thing rolling and we're selling advertisement and we're selling naming rights, and I mean, if that money starts rolling in and our Sports Tourism Commission all of a sudden got a pretty good sized bankroll, does that go to debt service? Do they use it for other things, or what happens to that money?
Under the agreement, it would go to debt service because any excess funds from revenue and the transient room tax will go to debt service.
Excess what?
Excess profits.
Profits.
That's a big
Right.
difference.
That's right. After expenses are paid, and if they project they're going to take a revenue in of $1 million and it's 1.2 million, the 0.2 would theoretically go toward debt payment.
I don't know.
I guess what I'm asking, what happened to that money, because we're gonna have to split it with the city, right? Am I going? No.
It goes to debt payment.
Not yet, but if we do what we're doing, that's what's gonna happen.
No.
I really think it's excess to the point you're making debt, you're covering your debt, and there might be more than one source. The
Right.
room tax is one, the revenue that will come from operations is another one, and then we've identified that there could be some naming rights and sponsorships. Actually, in the master plan, we talked about using those for capital replacements. There's a prediction because remember, everything we're buying is going to wear out, and we don't want to buy it twice. We want internal dollars to do those replacements. So one of the commissioners pointed out in one of the earlier visions, it sounded like if there was excess, city and county just split the money. But I don't think that's what anybody intended or what we want. We want to be able to use enough revenue sources to meet debt, and if it is above that amount, then that goes for the other things in the master plan regarding saving money for capital replacements and operating, and doing the other sports tourism activities that Commissioner Jones was talking about. So I think at least the way I look at it, probably going to be in a deficit situation for around 4 years, and that'd be like there was no COVID recovery and that the park wasn't making any money. So you have a city and county will likely find themselves in a deficit initially, but years 4, 5, and 6, it begins to cover the debt, and then after that there will be an excess. That'll be a good thing. That puts Sports Tourism Commission in the black. So what do we do for the Sports Tourism Commission? I think the amendment to not start taking 80% now, to delay that, allows them to build their coffer up so that they can operate adequately for the next 3 or 4 years, until probably I think it's going to be 2024 or 2025 before before we need to hit them for that first big debt payment.
All right. I've never called the question. I'm going to call a question on my amendment so that it can die and we can move on. I think I'm the only guy for it.
Okay. All right. Call the question. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
I'm very much for my amendment.
No?
Well,
No.
so we're going to be able to come back to it if we want to.
I've got.
We're going to make another amendment.
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to vote no for now.
Okay.
All right. Now, can I make the amendment to change? Yeah. So, and let's just. Well, I'm going to make just this amendment so it just gets changed. So striking in paragraph 3C, we'll strike the words the first month after and substitute therefore the words 1 year before. Well,
No, that's
go ahead and
not
try.
what it
do that.
says.
Beginning,
See if this wording would be
beginning,
acceptable.
hang on just a minute, beginning one, how would you?
About that.
How about beginning 1 year before the first debt payment is due?
Beginning 12 months prior to the date of the
Due
first,
date.
the due date of the first payment. Yeah, so if you strike the words in fiscal year 2022, substitute therefore 12 months prior to the due date of the first payment.
I'll second it.
All right.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, that carries. Any other
I've
amendments?
got an amendment I'd like to add to it.
Okay.
This would go after section C and D in section 3. The following: the amount of the annual payment to the city and the county under section C and D shall not exceed the amount of the debt service on any bonds issued above the $12.5 million referred to in paragraph A above. And this is just to ensure, I think it's clear that only debt payment, that money can only be used for debt payment, but I think this clarifies that each year the city and the county will only get money out of that account to pay their debt, and not any extra money.
I'll second that.
So you,
Yeah. So that's a new paragraph?
There'll be a new paragraph after C and D.
Well, it's not part of what we're voting on right now, really, is it?
Pardon me?
It's not a part of what we're voting on right now.
But
is
we
it?
voted on that, didn't we approve the?
Yeah, we approved the,
We didn't approve
the
the,
first one.
no, we approved the amendment to the first one.
right. So he's wanting to, he's now wanting to amend and add an
Wait a
F.
minute, did we vote on Eddie's amendment?
Commissioner Jones's motion to amend failed.
Yeah, but then I made another
And then
motion.
his second amendment changing only the first month after, whatever he said.
Yeah, 12 months prior to the
Yes,
due date of
beginning
the
12
first.
months prior to the due date of the first payment. That passed.
That passed.
Yes.
Okay, and now I'm making another amendment.
But we've not voted on the original
No, sir,
as
because
amended.
No, 'cause I have another amendment before we vote on the whole document.
It's still on the floor, and you're still in the discussion
Yeah.
about it.
But I thought it sounded like it was not a part of this. It was
Yeah, it
in
is,
a
it's a part of
different.
the agreement, yeah.
Well, I know that a part of the agreement.
We don't have to vote on it, just number
Okay,
3.
all right.
Okay.
Can you read your F again? So you're adding F.
Yeah.
And F would say what?
The amount of the annual payment to the city and county under section C and D shall not exceed the amount of debt service on any bonds issued above the $12.5 million referred to in paragraph A above.
What if you added shall not exceed the annual debt service? Because there'll always be debt service. They could always apply it to the next year.
Add what?
Add annual debt service. So you're basically wanting to say you can't collect more than what
Well,
you
it
get.
says the amount of the annual payment.
Okay.
And this is just to make sure that the only amount of money that will be taken out of that fund is the amount needed to pay debt, and there's no extra money. I think it's clear that the money can only be used for debt, but this would be an addition to the, just to clarify that only, they wouldn't get extra money.
Well, if you understand it's clear that it can only be used for debt, but you want to say that it can't be used for more than the debt.
Right, but this
amount?
clarifies that the only payment made to the city and the county to pay debt will be the amount due that year. If there's excess money in there from that year,
So if it ends up being wildly successful and we
Yeah.
double the TRT. And
it will
now
stay in there and used for future debt payment.
we wouldn't take out more than what we need per year.
If we have a debt payment of $500,000, there's no need for us to get $600,000 out of that fund. This just clarifies that the only amount you receive will be the amount, you can't receive any more than what your debt payment is.
Well, doesn't it already say that?
No. It says the funds can only be used for debt payment, but it doesn't say that the only amount transferred will be the amount to cover the debt payment.
It can only be used for debt service,
Right.
and you want it to say it can only be used for debt service and nothing more.
No,
debt?
no, the annual payment cannot be more than the annual amount that comes out of the transient room tax cannot exceed the amount of the debt payment. The way this is worded, the whole 80% could be divided and given to the city and the county, even if the debt payment is less than the amount of money they get. There's no need for the city and the county to hoard money for debt payment. We need to keep it in with the sports commission. I think it just clarifies.
Yeah, I guess there could be somebody could say, well, we always have debt service until there's debt paid off, so we're going to take the extra in case you have a bad year next year, and you're saying, no, that's not fair, you're in this.
But that money will still be with the sports commission to get it the next year.
I agree.
There's no need for us to have an account with $100,000 in it for debt payment for the sports complex. That should stay with the sports commission and then come out and be used the next year if it's
Okay,
needed.
and yours refers to the annual?
Right.
Yeah, that's what's.
The amount of the annual payment to the city and the county under section C and D shall not exceed the amount of, you would say annual debt service, that'd be fine, on any bonds issued above the 12.5 million referred to in paragraph A above.
Okay. Where does that fit in? Where do you want to?
That, we would add a,
It's going to add an F.
Add an F. Okay.
we would add an E. This would be a new E, and then we would adjust the other one. The E would become F. Or we could just make it F if you want to. What's the best way to do that, Eddie?
Well, I think you could leave that,
We'll
just leave that up to you.
We'll make that
as
F.
long as it's in there somewhere.
make that F.
Okay.
Okay, that's F. All right, any other discussion?
I'll call a question on that one. I'll get you to your meeting.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
Okay, I've got one more amendment. One of the partners in this project is going to be the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I think we need to make that clear in our memorandum of understanding and in our interlocal agreement that they'll be a partner. And I've talked to the chairman of the board of the city Visitors Bureau and to the director of the Visitors Bureau, and they do want to be a partner, and they will be a partner. But I think we need to have that as part of this agreement. And I've talked to the chairman, Glenn Denton, of the City Visitors Bureau, and he's agreed to not oppose adding the following, which would be a new section, be a new number 5, and 5 would become number 6. And the wording of it is, the city, county, and commission will negotiate with the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau to be a party to the final interlocal agreement to provide support to the operation of the sports complex and promotion and or other assistance as deemed appropriate. All parties recognize that the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau's mission is to help attract visitors to the community to promote tourism. The success of the sports complex will greatly enhance revenue for the Paducah Convention and Visitors Bureau. And to me, that just ensures that there'll be something in writing for them to participate. It may be that they'll help do promotion.
So that's your motion to add that?
Yeah.
I'll second that, so we can talk about it. I wasn't trying to cut you off, but
No, that's fine. If there's any questions on that.
anytime you add a party to an agreement, you give a party rights to enforce an agreement. But
It's just to make sure that they again, I don't think there's any doubt they're going to be a party because they'll benefit from it, but we just want to make sure that the role they play at some point is in writing, because 4 or 5 years from now, when maybe we're all gone, that might not be remembered.
That makes them a party to the ILA.
that's my concern, is they're really not bringing anything to the table, but we're going to give them contractual enforcement rights, and they don't have any skin in the game other than they're going to say, yeah, we're for you.
Well, this ensures they'll bring some skin to the game.
What skin? I didn't hear any skin.
Well, that
All I heard is maybe other possible.
they'll provide support to the operation through promotion and or some other assistance that's deemed appropriate. It just assures that they're going to be a partner in this to have skin in the game and make it happen, since they'll benefit from it.
Well, I certainly get the philosophy of the statement, but I think the risk of, it just kind of complicates the interlocal agreement process and gives them the ability to seek enforcement without really paying any consideration, so.
How would they have the ability to seek enforcement?
Well, if there was some ambiguity or some change, but let's say 5 years into it, I convince everybody I'm right and we need to do 60% of 75,000. Now I've got to go to Glenn Denton and his board and convince them to amend the agreement. And I just...
They don't sign this agreement. They just come to a verbal agreement of what they're going to bring to the table, and we'll put that in our memorandum of understanding that the city and the county approve, or in the interlocal agreement.
It sounded like you were going to ask them to agree.
No, I don't know.
You're just wanting the city
No.
to tell their city CVB to be supportive.
We just want their role in writing, but they would not be a party to the agreement. The same as we don't have to have the sports commission sign off on this, do we? It's just the city, county.
Oh, you definitely got to have sports tourism
Everybody
commission.
that's a party got to sign to it.
There's got to be 4 out of 7 votes to approve this thing at the sports tourism commission, without a doubt.
So what,
It just ensures that they're going to be a party to it and bring something to the table. And they don't
if
need to
they're
sign
a
it.
party to it, they got to sign it.
Well, they're not a party to it, they're just going to,
You just said they're a party to it.
I mean, they're going to bring something to the table. If you don't want to do it, that's fine.
Can I see what you,
To clarify for the record, your motion to amend is to make them a part of the ILA,
Right.
not part of the MOU.
Right. No, the MOU would include that paragraph. Then when we did the interlocal agreement, that would identify what they're going to do.
so it would say in the MOU that we're about hopefully to approve one way or another, that they're not going to be a party of the MOU, but they'll be a party to the ILA. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just the final interlocal agreement will identify how they will have skin in the game.
Well, I think it's a worthy conversation piece for how they're going to have skin in the game, but I'm not for your amendment. I'm for the idea, but not for the amendment.
Okay, and if you don't want to do it, that's fine. I just want to make sure that, because there was some concern that about their involvement.
All right, so we want to call a question on that amendment.
Okay. All right, all in favor of that amendment, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
I'm opposed.
Okay, that fails. All right, are we ready to vote on the original then? Or with the amended
Where are we at on the
version?
amendment?
We've got one amendment. We've changed when the,
We have 2 amendments.
oh, that's right, we did have 2 amendments. That's right.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
We got the one amendment when we start making the payment. We got the one amendment that clarified we're only going to pay, or we're only going to collect enough to pay the annual debt service.
We're going to leave it at 80%.
Well, you didn't agree otherwise, so yes.
If I could suggest.
I want to make sure I know what I'm voting on. Y'all talk about some budget.
If I could suggest, you could withdraw the motion on the original order, Commissioner Parker's motion, Eddie second. No, I'm sorry, Commissioner Barwin did. You could remove that, and then I could read a new order with the language, with the amendments as amended.
That would delay till the next meeting then before we could approve it.
Oh, no, sir.
Because we have it on the table, we amended it, and now if we withdraw our,
I think
that'll kill the amendments if we do that.
I think we can just vote. Now we can vote on the agreement as it's been amended by 2 amendments.
Right.
Okay.
I will call the question on the agreement as amended by the 2 amendments.
Okay.
Okay, let's
All
do
right,
it.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. All right, got that done.
Thanks, everybody. It's been an interesting process.
Everybody go like that.
Is that the word you want to use, interesting?
On TV. On TV.
I've got another
I
word for
appreciate Eddie
it.
and his diligence and his concerns. I think, I'm glad we got through that.
Thank y'all for putting up with me this week.
You are ready for item C?
Oh, I thought we were done.
No, sir. Item C under discussion. Mr. Irvin.
Okay. Under discussion, Steve Irvin, Sports.
320.
Do we need to do
Yeah.
these others, since you gotta get out of here quick?
I have to be there at 4. So I've got another, I can do another 10 minutes or so.
Let's do 911 then.
Want to?
Let's do the 911 agreement.
As a
We're
point
gonna-
of order, sir, are the commissioners aware that they will be continuing on without you after you leave upon agreement as who will lead?
I assume.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
You want to delay a while? Hey, we already voted, man.
Yes,
Got a
we
bit
do.
past the ordinance for full body, so that'll be what we need to go to instead of the.
What's that?
If you're getting short on time, we have to pass an ordinance with full body.
Oh, full body, okay. Yeah, so we need to go to, is there a motion to go to 911 MOU? What?
Some of,
Well, you need to be.
What?
I'm sorry. I thought the county attorney said you should do the ordinances next.
I just want to make.
They
sure
have to be
that
done with all of it.
Oh, the ordinances. Oh, I'm sorry.
The entire body.
I'd like
Okay.
to make a motion, we move to the ordinances next.
Okay. The second? All in favor, aye?
Yeah,
Opposed,
I
no.
second it.
I thought I heard you. All right, ordinances, A.
I will read C under tabled items first. It is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the first reading of ordinance number 2021-11 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. McCracken County, Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2021-11. An ordinance approving the form, content, and legality of the interlocal cooperation agreement by and between the City of Paducah, Kentucky, the County of McCracken, Kentucky, and the Barclay Regional Airport Authority, and authorizing the McCracken County Judge Executive to execute the same. The action effectuated in the present ordinance is authorized by KRS Chapter 91A and Section 65.210 to 65.314. The present ordinance formalizes the approval of the McCracken County Fiscal Court of an interlocal cooperation agreement into, by, and between the City of Paducah, the County of McCracken, and the Barclay Regional Airport Authority. Further, the present ordinance formalizes the McCracken County Fiscal Court's authorization of the McCracken County Judge Executive to execute the agreement on behalf of the county. Give me 1 second. It is hereby certified by the McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points of and contents of ordinance number 2021-11. Public inspection. A true and correct copy of ordinance number 2021-11 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the office of the McCracken County Judge Executive during ordinary business hours.
So made.
second.
Okay, any discussion? No?
Just a brief question. Do we have an updated estimate of the amount of money that we're going to have to fund, Steve? It says in this agreement that it will be updated in July, and I was just wondering if there's any.
You have not received the federal engineering report.
Do what?
You have not received the report.
Okay.
Get a ballpark? I mean,
We're done with the ballpark.
Before we did the study, it's 10 to 12 million.
Any other discussion? You look perplexed.
I'm looking for
Right.
that. So, no, I don't have any more questions.
All right. All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
And gentlemen, we have another ordinance on your agenda under ordinances. It is hereby ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2021-6 shall be conducted in summary format as follows. McCracken County, Kentucky, McCracken County Fiscal Court, ordinance number 2021-6. An ordinance amending the McCracken zoning code is set forth in McCracken County ordinance number 2017-7 as amended by enacting a new section thereto authorizing the use of commercial food trucks and establishing related regulations. The action effectuated in the present ordinance is authorized by KRS Chapter 100 and all actions in relation to its enactment were taken in strict compliance with KRS Chapter 100 and all McCracken County local regulations enacted pursuant to same. This ordinance operates to amend the McCracken County zoning ordinance regulations by creating a new section entitled Section 150.41 Mobile Food Trucks, authorizing the commercial use of the same within McCracken County zones classified as commercial, heavy industry, and light industry, and otherwise complying with the regulations provided therein. Excuse me.
All right, is there a motion?
It is hereby certified by the
Oh.
McCracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points of and contents of ordinance number 2021-6. A true and correct copy of ordinance number 2021-6 shall be made available for public inspection in its whole and complete form by the office of the McCracken County Judge Executive during ordinary business hours.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. And we jump back up then to the, let's see, where were we? Walgreens litigation. I put that on just to,
Go to 911 now.
are we going to have a,
It
Okay.
depends on whether you want to continue with other discussion or a motion to
yeah, let's get to 911.
911 up.
Yeah, is there a motion? Is that your
So moved.
motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, let's do the 911 MOU then.
It is ordered that the Judge Executive is authorized to execute a memorandum of understanding with his city regarding E911 upgrades and funding, which establishes a working relationship between the city and the county, and which sets forth each party's commitment and duties with regard to such upgrades.
So made.
Second.
Any discussion?
I've got an amendment to it. Under number 2, joint committee, before I make the amendment, let me ask this question for discussion. Should we include a line in there that said this oversight committee also will recommend governance of the 911? Right now, it's only upgrades and funding options. Should they also recommend governance?
Well, the memorandum itself, I think, in the details, doesn't it cover, I've been on the sports complex so much, I've kind of abandoned the 911. It provides for a board, a governing board on there. That was just the summary of it.
Well, in the agreement, it just said the City and County agreed to establish 911 Communication Service Oversight Committee, which shall guide the parties in making recommendations regarding upgrades and pursuing funding options. And I wonder if it also should include in governance.
Well, I agree with you. I think I wouldn't want us to get into the committee and then someone say, well, that's beyond the scope of the topic.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we include in that line upgrades, pursuing funding options, and governance of the 911 operation.
What paragraph are you at?
It's in paragraph 2,
2.
in the end of the first sentence.
And making recommendations regarding upgrades, pursuing funding options. You just want to write and governance?
Right.
So you're inserting 2 words after options.
Right, and governance.
I second.
And obviously, whatever they recommend has to be approved, so they don't have the final say, but
Okay, so it does, now I'm trying to recall, it does go then far beyond how are we going to, what upgrades are we going to do and how are we going to pay for them, to once we do the upgrades, then this committee would then continue on and govern the operations of the 911?
Well, that's not what I would intend. I wouldn't want them to be the day-to-day operator. Basically, they're going to come up with the policy.
right, they're going to make recommendations.
Here's the board. Here's how we're going to select a board to govern 911.
Or whether it's a board, or whether it's operated by the city or the county, or a joint board, or whatever. I think we need to let them recommend, because that's an important part of it.
Because I guess presently, the city governs it, because it's the city's 911, so we probably do need to serve. And I guess, can we agree to take out the word "and" before pursuing, and we'll put a comma there, Vicki? You see that?
Take out what?
Well, I just don't want, we've got a list of things, so
Well, I propose upgrades, comma, pursuing funding options,
and governance.
and governance.
All right, so you're taking out one word,
Right.
taking out one word.
Taking out
adding to it.
and then at the end add and governance. That's going to be an important part of that, and that can be and the committee that we're putting together is going to be one that's going to understand 911, and I think they're going to do a lot of research on other 911 operations and equipment, so I think they need to also recommend governance. I'd hate to go through all this and then we get into have to start over again on how we're going to govern it.
I'll call a question on that in a minute.
All right. So, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries.
Thank you. I don't have any more amendments for anything.
Go lay down, Bill.
And sir, you are once more back to Steve Irvin for a sports complex update.
Oh, yeah.
But wait, we haven't voted on the actual,
Got to vote on that.
so I'll
Oh,
call
that was
a
just the
question.
amendment.
Question on the original motion to authorize the judge to sign the 911 partnership agreement as amended.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That carries. Okay. Let's see, so Steve, you got an update on the sports tourism? Come on up. I'm gonna need to go ahead and go. Let's, so our administrative code says that if I can't attend or have to leave, as I have to now, you gentlemen vote and decide who runs the show, who's well, yeah, it's just the three of you, it's not me, so however you want, I don't know how you want to do that. I guess it'd take a motion and a vote to do that. You think, Sam? So somebody wants to make a motion that one of the three of you take my place, and then vote on it and get that done.
Got the top
Nikki, would
down,
you like
somebody
to-
can vote.
I don't think any of us trust each other.
The admin code, sir, just as a point of order, says if the county judge is not present or able to preside, a majority of the commissioners shall elect one of their members to preside.
All right.
So that just means somebody needs to move and vote.
All right, Bill,
Everybody's-
I'll move to nominate you, Bill, provided we're out of here by 4 o'clock.
I'll second
Did you take good notes?
There
know
you
what you're-
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, easy. Don't mess the whole thing up.
Well, am I going to sign some orders now? Okay, Steve, your report on sports complex.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'm going to give a brief overview of 3 projects going on right now with the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission. The first is the RFQ, request for qualifications for operational development services. The second is the Phase 2 Peck Planner Grimm Warren AIA contract. And the third is just barn demolition. Once again, I'll try to be brief. The McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission requested qualification statements for operational development services from qualified firms on July 3rd of this year. On the 4th of this month, we received 3 qualification statements from 3 different firms. Viesta Sports Facility Management and Pinnacle with Eastern Sports Management were the 3 firms that submitted. The specific scope of services from these firms will be negotiated prior to signing the operational development contract. The selected firm will work with Peck Flannery Grimm Warren, Hitchcock Design Group, and Pros Consulting through final design and construction. The goal is for the selected firm to help the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission take the project from groundbreaking to first day opening on time and on budget. The facility must be operational efficient and meet goals on day one, as we know, to meet the pro forma. In general, services may include but are not limited to the following: organizational development, operational systems, software setup, local, regional, national marketing, business development, financial system setup, strategic planning including financial forecasting and budgeting, local, regional, national tournament events, program development, and events booking. This is for day one. Grand opening and events planning, staff placement, training, and development. This contract's not necessarily to hire somebody to run the facility, but we're going to be working through that process with this firm to decide which is the best track to go. Sponsorship, sales, fundraising, daily operations development, and 2 more: procurement and owner's representation. As we get to the point where we start bidding out the project, we'd like to have someone on our team that really can oversee that procurement process and then maybe actually help out Peck, Flynn, or Grimhorn during construction to make sure that it's done perfectly.
So there's 3 have submitted proposals.
Correct.
Did they attach money figures to
No.
their proposals?
This is a request for qualifications.
Okay.
Now, at this point, we're going to be looking at their qualification statements. The Sports Tourism Commission has those. At the next meeting this Wednesday, we'll be reviewing those, and then the Sports Tourism Commission will be requesting those 3 firms, possibly, to come and actually present to the Sports Tourism Commission. And at that point, as part of the request for qualifications, there was a way for selecting them. How are we going to select the firm that we want to hire? So they'll be going through that process and eventually selecting one firm.
Did they have a timetable for when they hope to do that?
Yes. On the 11th, as you know, the proposal has been submitted. The finals will be determined who we want to interview. It's possibly all 3 of them will be. On the 25th, we're probably going to be interviewing finalists. And then also on the 25th, those interviews, I assume, will be scored and approved by the McCracken County Sports Tourism Commission. So moving along rather quickly. Following on the heels of the RFQ is going to be the Phase 2 contract with Peck, Flannery, Grimhorn. I anticipate that probably to be coming probably September sometime. I assume that to happen right on the heels of the request for qualifications in that firm.
Any questions?
I'm sorry?
I'm simply any questions.
Are you done?
No. I'm almost done. The third thing is the barn demolition. If you remember, we requested proposals. I received quite a few proposals. One of them is for the selected firm to pay McCracken County Fiscal Court $150,000 up front. They did pay $20,000 and also submitted a performance bond. At this point, there's, as you see in the pictures, there's partial demolition of 6 barns, and 3 of the accessory structures, you see the picture on the top left, have all come down. I anticipate completion sometime in October, and they're moving along on schedule.
And we're not going to give the city 80% of this, are we?
That's not part of the contract.
I digress.
Any questions? Thank you, Steve.
Yes, thank you.
Update on Walgreens litigation? Sam?
You guys were asking for an update on that. I'd be glad to give one to you.
I believe the judge was going to give an update, but we didn't get to it.
Okay.
I'll give it. Everything's great. We reached a really nice resolution in that case, and the resolution was actually essentially the exact same amount that I anticipated on presenting to Walgreens in the form of what's called a Rule 62 offer of judgment. And what happens there is if you offer a judgment at specific terms as a defendant, and the plaintiff rejects your offer of settlement pursuant to that rule, then the plaintiff, Walgreens, will have to pay for all of your subsequent litigation fees that have been incurred subsequent to them rejecting the offer. So what we did essentially is we arrived at the exact same number that I wanted to hang out there as a carrot for them to either accept or reject. And because we were going no further with litigation, there are no further litigation fees. So we are essentially in exactly the same place that we would be in if my plan worked to perfect fruition. We got everything we wanted. So I guess we kind of did get everything we wanted. There we are.
Yeah, I think we appreciate all the work you've done on it. You saved the county and different agencies a lot of money by doing most of the work in the county attorney's office. So
Yeah, it was.
appreciate all the work. And
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I know you guys all share that thought.
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me to hear that.
I know
It is a
you
really big deal.
enjoy research, I think.
I do. I love research. You wouldn't think I did, but I do.
I can tell when we get opinions from you, you enjoy research, and it's always very thorough. And
Probably think I like to go surfing by looking at it. I like to do research, actually.
and I think for the media standpoint too, that probably your arguments will probably be used by other counties and their arguments to help resolve similar
Yeah.
cases with Walgreens and other companies around the state.
I think that's one of the best things that's going to come about from this is there's a whole lot of little counties out there that are being targeted. And this firm is actually, I mean, they tout themselves as being the largest firm in the world, and they are. There's 12,000 professionals, there's 82 locations throughout the world. 200, I believe, and 88 locations throughout the world within 72 countries. So they're huge. And it's just nice to beat somebody like that.
Anyway, we appreciate all the work you've done on it.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Appreciate all the work you've done
yeah.
on it.
Yeah, you got it. 20, what was it, 25 months?
It's been a while.
Yeah. So, well, I'm glad you brought it up, and glad everybody's okay with the resolution.
Thank you.
Especially me.
We also had on here I-24 traffic meeting update. Do we need to give anything on that? Went to the sheriff to talk about that or pass over that?
I think we'd probably pass over.
Okay.
I'd be okay passing over. I saw the paper.
Okay.
Flow report.
All right. Next, we have court orders not on the consent agenda. Number A.
All right, sir. It is ordered that a bid opening was held at 1:35 p.m. on July 26, 2021 in the McCracken County Sheriff's Office. Said bid opening was for specified equipment and service necessary to prepare 8 new 2021 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive pursuit vehicles for law enforcement service. The following 2 bids were received. One from Trent Grief, $8,002.37 each for 6 Dodge Durango patrol vehicles and $7,474.37 each for 2 Dodge Durango transport vehicles for a total bid of $62,962.96, and 2 from Rapid Response, $8,965 each for 6 2021 Dodge Durango patrol vehicles and $7,975 each for 2 2021 Dodge Durango transport vehicles for a total bid of $69,740.
You have a motion to approve?
So made.
Second. Eddie?
Yes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered that Trent Grief be awarded the bid for specified equipment and service necessary to prepare 8 new 2021 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive pursuit vehicles for law enforcement service at a total bid price of $62,962.96.
So made.
Second.
You move in second. Any questions, comments?
Well, I want to, Sheriff, is this what you want?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions? All in favor aye.
Aye.
All opposed no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered, it is ordered that the judge executive is authorized to execute the county request and agreement for litter abatement program application to apply for the annual litter abatement funds through grant funding.
So made.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered to approve the July transient room tax in the amount of $372,449.51 to be dispersed as follows. Paducah CVB, $109,417.40. Convention Center, $74,234.98. Sports Tourism Commission, $113,279.82. Escrow Fund, $75,517.31.
So made.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered that the treasurer is authorized to pay to Unlimited Graphics, Inc. the amount of $2,762.72 for yard, signs, and window decals with the United We Stand logo. This is to be paid from the Water Tower Project account.
So made.
Second.
A motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Board appointments.
It is ordered that Megan Musselman is reappointed to the Sports Tourism Commission to serve a 3-year term beginning August 27, 2021 and expiring August 26, 2024, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. B.
It is ordered that Jim Dudley is reappointed to the Sports Tourism Commission to serve a 3-year term beginning August 27, 2021 and expiring August 26, 2024, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered that Mary Hoy is reappointed to the Carson Park Board to serve a 2-year term beginning September 1, 2021 and expiring on August 31, 2023, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it.
It is ordered that Matthew S. Eddy is appointed to the Joint Sewer Agency Board to serve a 4-year term beginning on September 1, 2021 and expiring on August 31, 2025, subject to further orders of the court.
So made.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Next, we have under 9, resolutions.
It is hereby ordered that resolution number R 2021-21, stating the McCracken County Fiscal Court's agreement to the terms of the agreement for joint provision of governmental services authorizing the City of Paducah Fire Department to perform mobile food vehicle fire safety inspections for applicants seeking a county mobile food permit and stating the express authorization that the McCracken County Judge Executive execute such agreement is hereby adopted.
I tried to catch you, Vicki, I'm sorry. I learned on Friday, after speaking with the folks with the city, that the resolution that I did and the contract that I did is not actually necessary. Apparently there had been, I think it's set for tomorrow's second reading actually of an amendment to their ordinance, their food truck ordinance there at the city, that expressly authorizes the inspection of county permit seekers for county purposes. It's all going to be the same fee, same location, same methodology, same documentary evidence of compliance, no changes. So essentially I did all this and come to find out it wasn't necessary. So, but now we have a nice form for them.
Yeah. So are they changing, what else are they changing in their ordinance?
That's all that I'm aware of.
Will we still mirror the city?
No, because
And
our ordinance requiring them to move after 14 days, the city just took that out of their ordinance.
all right, well, when they change it, I'll support, I want to be like the city.
What's that issue though is how this truck is inspected.
Okay. Well,
That part will be identical. The rules as to how long you can stay in a spot are going to be different.
I'm not in favor of changing that right now. We just voted today to
I agree, but
second reading.
I agree. I just want to be like the city, wherever the city is.
Commissioner Bartleman, since no one had
Yeah. Do we have a motion to withdraw the resolution?
So made.
I don't know that we even,
We really never done anything with it.
we just started talking.
All in favor, aye.
All right.
Aye.
Sure.
Sorry to let you know that beforehand. That was kind of a later thing that I learned on Friday and got off my radar.
All right, Bill, it's time.
Okay,
The
anything
motion
on-
for adjournment.
Anything on executive session? Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Those have it. Ayes have it.
350. Thanks.